What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop, and today I've decided I want to share with you guys my Pokemon teams from every generation. This is a video that's been done recently by several members of the community, and given that I've been lucky enough to have been with Pokemon since the beginning and have actually played through every single generation, I thought it would be fun to share with you guys my ideal teams from every set of Pokemon games over the years. Keep in mind when looking at different Pokemon for these teams, I'm only looking at Pokemon that were introduced in that generation in order to make the video a little more interesting. So for instance, I won't be having any Kanto Pokemon on my Johto team. With all that being said though, let's go ahead and check out my teams. Okay, so starting things off with Generation 1 and the Kanto region, my ideal Kanto team would consist of Blastoise, Pidgeot, Raichu, Nidoking, Arcanine, and Dragonite. I decided to go with Blastoise as my starter because I like Squirtle just a little bit more than Charmander and Bulbasaur. Pidgeot is always a must for me during any Kanto playthrough because for the most part I always like to use the starting birds in any Pokemon game, and Pidgeot is one of my favorites in that category. Raichu because Pikachu is available fairly early being in the Viridian Forest, and having an electric type on my team is essential in my opinion, and Pikachu and Raichu is a pretty cool one. Nidoking is another super essential Pokemon that's always been a staple for me during my Kanto playthroughs because I always used a Nidoran to beat Brock during the days of Pokemon Yellow, and Nidoking is just a super versatile Pokemon in general. Arcanine just because Arcanine is freaking awesome and we don't have a fire type on the team yet, which is super important to have, so Arcanine fills that role. And finally, I decided to go with Dragonite because even though I haven't used Dragonite in a playthrough of my own, I absolutely love it as a Pokemon, and it's obviously super powerful in the Kanto region and super useful as well, so I thought it would be a great pick to round out my team of 6 in the Kanto region. Moving on to Johto, we've got Typhlosion, Tyranitar, Heracross, Lantern, Sneasel, and Donphan. Typhlosion is an obvious choice because Cyndaquil is my favorite Pokemon. Tyranitar, much like Dragonite, is an easy pick because not only is it a super powerful pseudo-legendary Pokemon, it's just super awesome in general, so it made it an easy choice. Heracross because I don't use bug Pokemon that much on my team, and Heracross is a very cool bug type, so I jumped at the chance to add it to my Johto team just because it's very cool, it's got a unique typing, and I feel like it's a somewhat unique pick for me being a bug type. Lantern because Lantern is one of my favorite Pokemon and one of my favorite Johto Pokemon for sure, and I feel like it's very underrated, so it could make for a very useful team member. Sneasel because Sneasel is so freaking awesome and cool. It's got a very awesome typing being Dark Ice, and I can't quite evolve it into Weavile, so we'll stick with Sneasel for now. And finally, Donphan because Donphan is a cool Pokemon. I really appreciate its design being a elephant Pokemon that's also based around a tire. I think that's so ingenious, and I've really just been a fan of Donphan for a while, so it definitely deserves the final spot on my Johto team. Now we move into Generation 3 with the Hoenn region, and my ideal Hoenn team consists of Swampert, Breloom, Aggron, Manectric, Absol, and Metagross. Swampert simply because Mudkip is my favorite starter of the 3 very amazing Hoenn starters. Breloom because much like Donphan, I really appreciate Breloom's design being a mushroom kangaroo. I think that's just so unique and so cool. Aggron because much like Tyranitar and Dragonite, even though it's not a pseudo-legendary, it's a very powerful Pokemon, it's a very cool looking Pokemon, and it's a pretty versatile Pokemon as well, so it makes it an easy choice. Manectric because like I said in Generation 1 with my Raichu pick, I believe that having an electric type is a super essential part of any Pokemon team, and Manectric is a very cool one in Generation 3. Absol because Absol is just an absolutely awesome Pokemon, and I don't really feel like I need any more reason than that. And finally, Metagross because while Metagross isn't necessarily my favorite Pokemon in the Hoenn region, I've used it several times throughout different Hoenn playthroughs, and it always comes in so clutch every single time. It's obviously a pseudo-legendary, so it's super powerful, and it's just gotten me out of so many tight situations throughout my time playing through Hoenn games, so it's always a must for me every time I play through the Hoenn region. Now we're coming up on the Sinnoh region, and my team for Sinnoh is going to consist of Empoleon, Garchomp, Lucario, Luxray, Gallade, and Weavile. With my starter, I decided to go with Empoleon over the other two because while the Sinnoh set of starters are absolutely amazing, I really love Empoleon for its design and being based so heavily on Napoleon Bonaparte, and I just love how Game Freak was able to base a Pokemon on a human essentially, but pull it off in such a cool looking way, plus its water steel type is really cool and really useful as well. Garchomp coming up next because obviously I have a trend of having pseudo-legendaries on my team, and can you blame me? They're really powerful and Garchomp is one of the coolest ones out there, so he was an absolute must. Lucario because anytime I play through a Sinnoh game, I have to have Lucario on my team, and pretty much anytime I am able to have a Lucario on my team in any generation, I always do just because it's such an awesome Pokemon. Luxray once again follows my trend of wanting and needing an electric type, and Luxray is one of the coolest out there. Gallade because Gallade is flat out one of my favorite Pokemon. I'm pretty sure it's in my top 5, and even though it can't do it in Sinnoh, the fact that it can evolve into Mega Gallade, which is basically Seto Kaiba, just basically gives it the benefit of the doubt in my opinion. And finally, Weavile, because obviously I had Sneasel in Gen 2, so I have to have its evolution Weavile in Gen 4, which is arguably even cooler than Sneasel. Now we come to Generation 5, which in terms of the Pokemon is my least favorite generation, but I was still able to build a pretty cool team, and that team consists of Samurott, Zoroark, Braviary, Krookodile, Emolga, and Haxorus. Samurott because Samurott is simply my favorite of the 3 Unova starters. I'm not really a huge fan of any of them, but Samurott is definitely my favorite, even though it's not really a fan favorite by any stretch of the imagination. Zoroark because Zoroark is a fan favorite. It's an awesome Pokemon, and I absolutely love it. Braviary because Braviary is incredible. It's probably my favorite Unova Pokemon, and even though you can't get it until late in the game, it's definitely worth catching up to the rest of your team. Krookodile because Krookodile is actually a really solid Pokemon. I absolutely love Sandile, and it can actually be pretty powerful if you use one with the Moxie ability. Emolga because once again I basically have to have an electric type on my team, and in my opinion the Unova electric types aren't great to choose from, but Emolga is really solid and it's one of my favorite Pikachu clones. And then finally Haxorus because even though I am not the greatest fan of Haxorus, in fact I've talked about it in a previous video discussing it as a popular Pokemon I actually hate, I do recognize it is a very powerful Pokemon, and I feel like I like its design more than Hydreigon, which is the actual pseudo-legendary of the region, so I kind of put it on my team by default. Coming up on Kalos, which in my opinion has the best Pokemon of any single generation, we have Chestnut, Goodra, Talonflame, Noivern, Aurorus, and Phantom. Chestnut because Chestnut is definitely my favorite of the Kalos starters. I absolutely love it, and frankly, I don't really get why it's so picked on and why it's so unpopular, because I absolutely love it and I think it's a great Pokemon. Goodra because Goodra is amazing. I didn't pick Goodra this time because it was simply the pseudo-legendary of the region. I picked it because I love its design. I love that it's a gooey snail dragon, and I love that it's like super tough and can beat you to death, but it's also super friendly as well. That's kind of my aesthetic, so it's a must on my team. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Talonflame because once again, I really love having starting birds on my team, and in my opinion, Talonflame is the best starting bird there is currently. Noivern because even though I wouldn't typically have 2 dragon types like this on my team, it's an audio, music, sound-based Pokemon, which is obviously super appealing to me, and its design in general is just super awesome as well, so I couldn't pass it up. Aurorus because Amora and Aurorus are my absolute favorite fossil Pokemon. I mean, they're dinosaurs based on the Northern Lights. You really don't get any better than that in terms of a Pokemon, and even though its rock-ice typing is trash, I don't care. I love this Pokemon. It's coming with me on my Kalos adventure. And then finally, we've got Phantom. Now, you might notice that Phantom is the only unevolved Pokemon on any of my teams that is capable of evolving, and the reason for that is that Phantom is my second favorite Pokemon of all time, just behind Cyndaquil. However, I'm not really a fan of Trevenant. Trevenant kind of disappointed me when I saw it initially, and I like it way less than I like Phantom, so I gotta keep Phantom in its original form. And finally, we've got the most recent generation up to this point, that being Alola, and Alola has got some very interesting Pokemon to choose from, and I was able to build a pretty solid team. For my Alola team, I've got Decidueye, Lycanroc Dusk form, Togedemaru, Kamala, Passimian, and Vikavolt. Decidueye simply because A, Rowlet is cute as heck, and B, Decidueye is my favorite fully evolved Alolan starter. I love its Grass Ghost typing, I really love its design in general, and it's just awesome. Moving on to Lycanroc Dusk form, I didn't use Lycanroc Dusk in my playthrough of Ultra Moon, I simply stuck with the Lycanroc Day form because I didn't really want to go through the hassle of training that special Rockruff, but I really love Lycanroc Dusk just because it's kind of the best of both worlds in terms of the midday form and the midnight form of Lycanroc, so definitely had to put that as my ideal Pokemon there. Togedemaru because Togedemaru. Seriously, this Pokemon is incredible. First off, it's spherical, and even though we don't need any more reason than that, I'm going to give you a couple more. First off, it surpassed any and all expectations I had for it during my first Sun playthrough. The only reason I really picked it up is because I thought it was cute and I needed an electric type. I didn't really have any expectations for it, and I didn't really decide beforehand that I thought it was going to be on my team because I really liked it or thought it was cool or something. However, once I gave it a chance and once it was on my team, it absolutely wrecked. First, it's not only an electric type, it's an electric steel type, which makes it super solid in battle. Number 2, it's actually a really good battler, it's got solid attack, and it's got pretty good speed. And finally, its ability is amazing because it damages any Pokemon that hits Togedemaru with a physical move. So Togedemaru came in so clutch so often for that, and it just really made me love it so much. Moving on with Kamala, because even though I haven't used Kamala in any of my personal Alola playthroughs because it's a fairly late in-game Pokemon and it's a fairly rare Pokemon on top of that, I absolutely love its design. I think it's a really cool Pokemon and it's definitely one of my favorite Alola Mons, so it's definitely a must next time I play through Alola. Next up is Passimian, and Passimian is very similar to Togedemaru where I wasn't really planning at all on having it on my team. It's not really one of my favorite Alola Mons per se. However, once I actually gave it a chance and put it on my team, it came through very clutch. It was a very solid Pokemon for me during my initial Sun playthrough, so for that reason I have to have it on my ideal Sun and Moon team. And finally with Vikavolt, I did not use a Vikavolt during any of my Alola playthroughs up to this point because having to evolve Charjabug in Vast Pony Canyon, which comes super late in the game, is a huge turnoff for me, especially because it's the starting bug type. I still do think Vikavolt is an amazing Pokemon. It's one of my favorite Alola Pokemon in general, so if I ever play through an Alola game again, I probably will have to have Vikavolt on my team and just suck up having to train Charjabug for so long, because even though, like I said, that really turned me off, it probably is worth it just because Vikavolt is such a cool Pokemon. It's one of my favorite Pokemon in Alola in general. It's easily the best starting bug that there is in existence at this time, and I really would love getting a chance to actually use it in a legit playthrough. So there we have it, everybody. I had a lot of fun with this video deciding what my dream teams are for every generation, and with Generation 8 on the way next year, I'm excited to experience this process again with a whole new set of Pokemon. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like because it really helps the video out, and let me know in the comments below what your ideal teams are from every generation. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for way more Pokemon content each and every week, and be sure to check out my Spotify as well and give me a follow over there for my Pokemon remixes as well as for a chance to win a copy of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee when the games come out. With all that being said though, I will be back on Saturday with another video, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you can know as soon as it goes live, and until then, as always, I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.